Hi, I'm really excited to tell you about a new treatment process that one of my closest friends, who's a psychotherapist, told me about a few weeks ago. He and two of his therapist colleagues went to this training where, as is often the case, the participants would practice the treatment process on each other. And all three of them came back from that phase one training reporting that they had resolved lifelong issues in just a few sessions, in some cases in just one session. We're talking about family stuff, abuse stuff, really lifelong issues that as therapists they had done quite a bit of work on and experienced profound, lasting shifts in the resolution of those issues. So he called me very excited on a Tuesday morning to tell me about this experience that he had just had. And of course, I was really interested in that. And so I got my first Brainspotting session 8 days ago and had a really remarkable experience. As is often the case with these fast-acting treatment processes, I rated what my level of distress was when I would think about an example trigger event. And mine started at an 8 level of distress. It's pretty high. And after the process in one session, I finished at a 2. And it was clear to me that what was remaining was really starting to touch into another issue. So that's a really dramatic change. Of course, the next question that I had was, is this going to last? Is it going to be stable? Sometimes with other processes, I'll feel better in the moment, but then it will just kind of come back again, usually not as high of a level, but it's not a one session process. Well, not only did I find that I felt dramatically different whenever I would do the things I do to check, like, what's my level of activation about this? I could get to the point of like being really actively outraged when I would remember some of these things that have happened. And instead, what's been happening is this crystal sense of clarity that while I might have done something that I would consider to be a mistake that I would want to be responsible for and address, the other person's reaction was just crystal clear to me in this really deep way for all of my parts that their upset had nothing to do with me. That this really was just about them and their background, how they were perceiving things, the meanings they were giving things. They certainly weren't checking with me what was true for me. They were just imposing their reality on me, which is really triggering for me. And so to have that really just a sense of matter-of-factness, it's just obvious and simple that this doesn't have anything to do about me. And while I'm happy to be responsible and have an adult, compassionate, respectful conversation about whatever is mine to own and address, being called names and having the literal, like, log facts of the situation distorted and, that kind of thing, that it's hard for me to hold when it's come at me, several hundred times. It just wasn't a big deal. And I was clear that it wasn't something that was my business. Like, I didn't need to get involved with it. I didn't need to fix it, try to make it different. I didn't need to try to have this other person feel or be differently than they were. And this particular trigger is around someone that I don't have in my life anymore, that I'm sad about. I would really like that to be different. But the sense of clarity about who's responsible for what, and the sense of peace and just resolution that provided me, which I have struggled with for 6 years, was really remarkable. Now, of course, like many of these kinds of issues, the roots of this issue started in my family of origin, and that wasn't the stimulating memory that I was working with. So it's not surprising to me that when I was done, it was still at a 2, because the rest really is about that childhood issue. So yesterday, I did another session on the childhood stuff. It was pretty remarkable because when I started, it was a 10. The root of this is so intense for me that I've spent a lifetime really suppressing this experience. And I was able to really become present to that core wounding experience. And starting at a 10, I got to a 0 level distress about this. Now, it's only been a day, and I like to give these things more time. But there's, again, this extra layer of calm and relaxation. And when it's like I can't even really get to the original event. It's kind of like it's dissolving. Even the memory of it is just dissolving. It's just like it's done, is the sense that I have. So I'll report back in a week with more information about how this next layer has gone, because I do think it's really important to see how these things settle over time. I'm always a little bit skeptical. Really want to see that the shift is stable. What's interesting to me about this, though, is people are telling me that I am different. The shift in calm, grounded, I can just relax about this thing that's been a big issue for me for a while. They're saying they can see it on my face and they feel it in my energy field. They're saying, look, something's different about you, better, different. And what's interesting to me about this is I feel the same thing in my friend who originally told me about this. He lost his mother when he was 11, and of course you can imagine there's all kinds of family issues that arose for him about that, and there's this sense of rest and presence and security in the world that I feel I didn't have before. I would call it earned secure attachment, that I feel in him as well. So, and what's really surprising is the depth of shift that all of us have been experiencing as stable. Now, these 3 therapists have been using this in their therapy practice as well, and they're seeing the same results in their clients. And so I am really excited that we have found another brain-based, evidence-based process that is going to help all of us resolve and release this old wounding much faster and much deeper than any of the processes that we've had before.